Um, someone's messaging me. Um, let's see. Let's see. I think I'm gonna take Strider Harness here. I think. I mean, there's nothing really. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I just did not see this Barrage Ogre in the corner here. Yeah. Barrage Ogre has a lot of value here for us, especially, I mean, just in general, especially in a Metalcraft deck, because you have a lot of ways to just get shocks out of your deck. And we can get rid of something like Negligent Sensor after it's used its use, so I'm going to pick that up here. Maybe taking the Furnace Celebration earlier might have been right, but who knows? Like, see how it ends up. This pack's not that great. I'm probably just going to take the card that has the most value here, which is probably the Steel Infection, because that's kind of annoying to play against. This pack is not that great. I could rare draft a Tunnel Ignis here, or take up maybe a Wall of Tangle Cord. I think Wall of Tangle Cord is fine. It's not great, but I don't really need a Tunnel Ignis right now, so yeah. Yeah, I'll just take the Wall of Tangle Cord. Yay, we got the Copper Mirror back, so I'm definitely going to take that. Flameborn Hellion is another card to consider here, which is fine. Apparently nobody likes blue cards. I've seen like multiple copies of these cards go around the table. I'm surprised Ichor Mirror is still at this table, still in this pack, so I think that there's probably at most 2 Infect players at this table, maybe just 1, considering how late Ichor Mirror goes, because I thought that maybe Ichor Mirror would probably be picked up before Telgi had fallen, but apparently that wasn't the case. This pack's not so great. I'll just take the one spell that does anything. Actually, I can take Loxodon Wayfarer for the sideboard against that Infect player. Bladed Pinion is fine, not great. Nothing great here. I will take... what does this do? Gain 3 life? That doesn't even prevent damage? Man. Yeah, I guess I'll take that. Sure. Took another Telgi Defiance. Alright, so, wrapping things up here. Apparently I got a tweet back from Saito with regards to my translations, so hopefully it's good news. I don't know. Wow, okay, so this is a pack. Ooh, wow. We got 2, 3, 4 really good removal spells for our archetype. We got Revoke Existence, Shatter, Oxidus, Scrap Melter, Tumble Magnet, and 2 really good uncommon creatures being Golem Artisan and Glimmerpost Stag. So when presented with a situation like this, I just have to sort of assess what each cards do for us individually. And as mentioned, the first 4 cards we mentioned are all sort of removal spells, and looking at them, comparing them to each of the cards individually, like I think Revoke Existence is just better than Shatter because it deals with problematic creatures like Darksteel creatures, or Tumble Magnet in this case could probably deal with more bombs than either of the other 2 that are not artifacts, obviously. Then you look at the other spells, then Oxidus Scrap Melter is probably just better than because it adds a body. I'm going to take the Scrap Melter here, but it's a really close tie between that and maybe Golem Artisan, because I really do like Golem Artisan, but I'd rather have a card that gives me like straight up value right away. I really like Golem Artisan just because in this kind of a deck he just gives you so much more range in the late game and so much more reach as well. So I mean, range and reach go together. So in this pack you got Rustic, which is a very solid semi-removal spell, and Volshock Replica, Bloodshot Trainee in our archetype as well. Other notable cards are Necrotic Ooze, which is probably going to the Poison player to our left, but I don't see him taking it over something like Plague Sting or Blight Mamba, so I think it's actually a pick between Bloodshot Trainee and Rustic, because we do have Darksteel Axe and Nim Deathmantle, so that's actually reasonable to take and suit him up. It's kind of tough here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 artifacts with a couple of like fringe cards. I think I'm going to pick up the Trainee and see where that goes. It might not be the right pick. I might have probably should have taken the Rust tick, but we'll see. Pack, unfortunately, it doesn't do a lot for us. I don't think we can pick up the Furnace Celebration with like 2 spell bombs at this point, so I'm just going to pass on that. The other cards I can take a look at are the Skyguard or the Sun Chaser in white, but I don't really like those either. Like, we don't really have too much white in our deck, so we can actually just kind of ignore it for a bit. It's just basically Glade Hawkeye on Razor Hippogriff. So I might actually just take the Nurok replica here because it blocks a lot of things and it's an artifact. And I don't need another Celoton. So, and the 3-drop slot's kind of lacking, so I think taking that here is fine. This pack is not that exciting. I think the only real card to consider here is Darksteel Sentinel. I mean, if we had picked up those Furnace Celebrations earlier, the Daredevil goes up a lot more in value, as did the Liquid Metal Coating before, which I forgot to mention. But anyways, at this point, I think I'm going to pick up the Sentinel and sort of hope that we get enough artifacts to fill out this deck. And there we go. So now we have the decision between... Oh wow, never mind. I was going to say we had a decision between one of our on-color mirrors, but we don't actually have that decision anymore because, to me, I think I would rather prioritize one of the removal spells that were being offered here, either a Galvanic Blast or an Arrest. And at this point, considering white is one of our weaker colors, I think I have to take the Galvanic Blast here because it's just, you know, it's more likely the card that's going to be on most of the time. And, you know, instant speed versus enchantment, I think that wins out as well. But Arrest does stop a lot more creatures than Galvanic Blast does, which is very notable. But at this point, we might, if we even see something late enough to actually just switch out of white, it's still possible. But we're not going to switch out of red for sure. So I'm taking the Galvanic Blast, 100% playing that card. So yeah. And we got a Revoke Existence back out of this pack. So I think we're just going to pack our deck full of removal, and hopefully our mediocre creatures sort of get there. There's not a whole lot we can do with this situation, though. We don't have a lot of creatures, but, you know, it's not counting Glint Hawk Idol and Rusted Relic, so we should be okay. And we might pick up something mediocre like another Soliton, but I think we can get there off the back of all this removal, so we'll see. Now you gotta pick between like a crappy Metalcraft card like Sun Chaser or Auriok Replica. I have to take another look at our artifact count. We have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 artifacts. A couple are probably going to get cut. It's sort of on the fringe here. Like, I think that the Sun Chaser is too weak for me to take because I just hate Metalcraft cards that aren't artifacts themselves. The only ones that I do like are Galma's Warden and maybe Blade Tribe Berserker. So that being said, I think I'm going to pick up the Replica here because it's a 3-drop, which we don't have too many of, and fills out another artifact in our deck. So, Clone Shell is actually a reasonable card to pick up at this point. It's just like a value card, and it's an artifact, so I think it's fine. I've whiffed on it once before, so not the greatest experience, but eh. Actually picking up another Moryok replica at this point is pretty reasonable, because considering we're not too heavy white, we actually splash like a swamp or two just to activate these guys. And I'd probably want to play it more than activating Auriok Replica. So I'm actually pretty happy seeing this Volshock Replica at this point, so I'm going to snatch that one up. So it looks like in the end our deck is coming together. I don't think when presented with this choice here, now I have Soliton and Flameborn Hellion, which look pretty good at this point. I think I'm going to pass on the Soliton. We have probably enough artifacts to play with, so I'm going to take the Flameborn Hellion in case we need it. Might not end up playing it. We'll see where it goes. But nothing in this pack for us either. I'm just going to take our Daredevil out of there in case whoever has the double Furnace Celebrations. I'm going to take out the removal spell. And then that. The tweet, I'm reading the tweet that Saito sent me. He said he's trying to confirm if my name online was Fam, and yes it is. and he asks, "Is that you? You translated this?" And then he said in Japanese, "Moshimo so nara arigato," and he says, "If that's true, then thank you very much." Anyways, enough with that. I'm going to put that aside for now, and I am going to sort this out. So anyways, the colored cards, probably just Raise a Hippogriff and Revoke Existence White. I'm going to sit Flameborn Hellion on the side for now. Probably playing Turn to Slag, Barrage, Ogre, Scrap, Melter, Trainee, Arc Trail, Shatter, and Galvanic Blast. Sentinel's probably in. I'm going to sit Sultan on the side for now. Clone Shell, Rusted Relic, Bullshock Replica. I'm just going to throw in all the replicas for now, because you can always play them, you just might not be able to activate them. Probably not playing the Censor anymore since I don't have any way to bounce them. I'm going to start that Wall of Tangle Cord because it's a fine artifact and it's cheap. Nim Deathmental, Necropede, Talk Idol, Mirror. I'm going to sit the Bladed Pinions on the side, probably don't need it. And the Both Spell Bombs and Darksteel Axe. I wish we could have picked up like one more Mana Mirror, but we were presented with a few opportunities too, but I think every time I got greedy and took more removal. That may or may not have been the right course of action there, but I stick by my choice. I like being somewhat removal heavy and being able to just deal with whatever threats my opponents can throw at me. Although my deck does suffer a little bit in terms of like creature quality, but in the end, I think it should work out more often than not. I think Andrew Tingeki is one of the people who advocates the opposite. He likes having something around like 18 or 19 creatures in his deck, and just being able to just like churn out threats over and over and over again, which is perfectly reasonable. I don't disagree with that line of play either. So, anyways, I'm just sorting everything by creatures and spells and whatnot. So, I think I'm done, roughly. Okay, so looking at this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 removal spells, 7 pseudo removal spells, 8 pseudo removal spells. So our deck is pretty removal heavy, and I think it's looking pretty good. All our spells are top notch, Panic Spellbomb being the weakest. I think the only card I'd want to cut from here is probably the Nurok replica, because we probably don't need that right now. I'd probably board it in against Infect, because it has just a big butt that can block a lot, and it'd also probably bring the Loxodon Wayfarer. But that brings us down to 24 cards with 13 creatures, not counting Spell Bomb, Rusted Relic, Glint Hawk Idol. So yeah, I think we could probably get away with running even one swamp in this deck, because we're pretty white. We're pretty light on white here. We do need double white for Raise Hippogriff, but that's pretty late game, and we can wait on it. It doesn't even have to be on turn 5, because like the better the artifact that goes to our graveyard is, the more value we get out of our Hippogriff, so we can just wait on that anyways. So it's going to be red base with like one swamp and like a few planes here and there. So just making sure I'm not missing any colors. Nope. And we actually have a Coppermere to activate our wall, which is fine, so we don't even have to play a forest if we want that, but not like I was going to anyways. Moto suggests 12 and 4. I probably want to take that down a bit. And I go down 2 there, 2 there. Probably go 9, 6, and 1 seems fine. Because the majority of our spells are red, we want to cast all our sweet red spells because they pretty much kill everything. And 6 planes seems like enough to cast Revoke Existence and activate Glint Hawk Idol. Getting Raise a Hippogriff right away doesn't really matter. And it's not like we really need to activate Auriok Replica either. And I guess activate Origin Spellbomb, but not activating that on turn 2 or turn 3 is not a big deal, so I can let that sit there for a while. So I think that's good. And so yeah, that's what I'm going to start, and I'll see you back here for round 1, game 1.